Hi and hello everyone. We will be doing a short presentation based on the tips that affect Papua New Guinea, especially in higher institutions. And our group will present on classroom incivility in university settings. There are five of us, and the first speaker will take on the introduction, and following by that, the second speaker will talk on the description on the negative behaviors. And the third speaker will talk on impacts of classroom in-civility. The fourth speaker will state points on the strategies for change using behavioral development theories. And myself as a final figure, I will do the conclusion part. With that, moving on to the first speaker, who will take on the introduction part.
Hello and welcome. Whether you're a professor, or students, or staff members, classroom environment is where we come together to learn, grow, and share ideas. But what happens when the environment is upset? Today, we are addressing one of the most pressing issues in higher education or the university settings, which is classroom incivility in university settings. So in this video, we will explore the different types of distributive behaviors that create an environment of incivility in classroom. The far-reaching impact this behavior can have on students, faculties, and overall learning experience. And the most importantly, how we can address these issues using effective behavior development theories. Let's get started. Classroom incivility refers to a range of distributive and disrespectful behaviors that negatively impact the learning process. These behaviors can include anything from talking over the instructor or a teacher or a lecturer, side conversation, using phone during during lectures, to more serious action like verbal abuse or bullying, while some may seem minor or even trivial at first, and their cumulative effect can significantly undermine the educational experience. But before we dive into specific of classroom incivility, it's important to remember that the university environment is a shared space. It's a space where we all need to engage respectful in order to create the best condition for learning. When incivility takes hold, it can disrupt not just individual classes but the broader academic atmosphere. So our second presenter, I will hand it over to our second presenter to talk about the description of negative behaviors.
Hello everyone, I am the second speaker. We talk about the description of negative behaviors in the university settings. Let's take a closer look at the different forms of classroom incivility. These behaviors can vary in severity, but they will all say something, all say one thing in common. That is the flow of learning. Some common forms of negative behaviors include disrupting the instructor or peers. This can happen when the students consistently disrupt the instructor. Peers out of the 10 disregards the flow of the classroom discussion. It can cause frustration and disrupt the learning process for everyone involved. And second, using phones or technology inappropriately, whether it is texting, checking social media, or gaming during the class, using technology inappropriately puts students out of the learning experience and distracts their peers as well. Arriving late or leaving early without explanation constantly tightness can be a disorderly, especially when it happens frequently. It also it can also signal a lack of respect for professors and their classmates. Disrespectful or aggressive comment, verbal aggressions, bullying, or disrespect towards professor and fellow students can create a toxic classroom atmosphere where students feel unsafe to express their ideas, unconscious or lack of participation. While this might not be as visibly disturbed, this engagement such as students who don't participate in classroom discussions or do the minimum required undermines the collaborative learning environment. However, these behaviors don't just affect the individual involved, they affect the entire classroom environment. When integrity goes unaddressed, it can snowball, leading into widespread disengagement and poor academic performance. The next speaker will talk about the impact of classroom insecurity in the university settings, and I will leave it to the third speaker.
Hi everyone, I'm the third speaker whom I'll be going to talk about the impact on classroom incivility. So what happens when the descriptive behaviors are not addressed? When impacts are far reaching and can affect everyone including students, instructors and even the institution as a whole. The impact on students. For students, classroom integrity can have a profound effect on their learning experience. Disruptions make it harder for the students to focus on the material, participate in discussions, and absorb information. Over time, it can lead to decreased academic performance, increased stress and anxiety, and lower level of engagement and motivation. As students disengagement, they may start to feel disconnected from the learning process, which can further worsen the feelings of frustration. Impact on ability. For instructors, managing disruptive behaviors can be draining. It diminishes their ability to effectively teach and engage the students. As a result, faculty members may begin to frustration and burnout, loss of authority in the classroom, and a decrease in job satisfaction. Over time, this can lead to a less effective teaching environment and, in some cases, may even contribute to high turnover rates among education. Impact on the overall classroom environment. According to VNG Education News website in July 2015, it stated that when the classroom integrity persists without involvement, it can significantly affect the overall classroom atmosphere. When that happens, the ripple effects can lead to toxicity and division among the students and disruptions in the learning environment and a decrease in respect for academic standards. Ultimately, incivility can negatively affect the academic reputation of the institution, leading to a decline in student satisfaction and retention rates. With that, I hand it over to the fourth speaker to talk about the strategies for change using behavior theory.
Hi everyone, this is the fourth presenter of the presentation. I will talk about strategies for changes using behavior development theories. Now that we understand the problem and its consequences, let's explore how we can address classroom instability through strategies grounded in behavior development theories. These theories help us understand how we can save and encourage positive behavior within the classroom environment. Like one, social learning theory. Social learning theory developed by Albert Bodora emphasized that people learn by observing others. In the classroom, this means that our students are likely to model their behavior after both the instructor and their peers. To foster positive behaviors, there are instructors should model a respectful communication and behavior. Encourage our students to collaborate and engage in positive interaction, or provide a positive reinforcement when students display respectable behavior. By constantly reinforcing positive behavior, we create an environment where respectful action becomes the norm. Two, behavior modification. According to our BFR Skinny, behavior modification theory suggests that behavior can be shaped through the reward and the consequence. To address inequality, reinforcement positive behaviors with a reward such as praise or participation. Point, or implement fair and consistent consequences for destructive behavior, like warning or one-on-one conversation with each student, or ensure the students know the expectation and understand the consequences for inequality from the start of the semester. Using this tool, we can create an environment where students are motivated to engage in the respectful and productive behavior. Number three, cognitive cognitive behavioral focuses on the connection between thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are applied this in the classroom. Or students can be encouraged to reflect on their actions and the consequences those actions have on others. Like I encourage students to reflect on how their behavior affect the class, or provide opportunity for self-regulation and goal setting, or promote empathy by helping students understanding the impact of the actions and others. By addressing the root causes of undistracting behavior and encouraging self-awareness, we can foster more responsible and respectful behavior from the student. Now I will end it with our final presenter. He will conclude and sum up our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, this sums up our presentation. And I am the fifth and the final speaker for our presentation. I'll be summing up our presentation. Before that, before the conclusion part, I'll be recapping the presentation, the points that were stressed by my fellow presenters. The first speaker took on the introduction part, And the second speaker mentioned the description on the negative behaviors in higher institutions. And the third speaker talks about the impacts that those actions and those negative behaviors that brings to classroom that makes it incivility. And the fourth and final speaker talked about the strategies or the measures for changes. Those attitude or behavior problems, the measures and strategies which will be taken to rectify those problems. And some of the behavioral development theories that were stated and directive from the scholars. With that, I am the fifth and the final speaker will sum up our presentation. To conclude our presentation, classroom incivility is a complex issue that requires a proactive, thoughtful strategy. By understanding the nature of disruptive behaviors, acknowledging the impact, and using evidence-based approaches grounded in behavior, and acknowledging the impact and using evidence-based grounded in behavior development theories, we can begin to address incivility and create a more respectful and productive learning environment for everyone. Whether you are a student or an instructor, we all have the role to maintain civility in the classroom. It starts with the it starts with letting clear expectations, modeling positive behaviors, and working together to build an environment that fosters respect, collaboration, and growth. With that, thank you for watching, and remember, a respectful classroom is not just a responsibility of one person. It is a set commitment that makes everyone's learning experience a better place. That sums up our presentation. And if you have any questions or any comments to leave, please click the comment section and leave your questions or comments below. Thank you for watching.